Alright, am I streaming? I think so. Alright. Hey, how's it going, guys? Balder here, and I am just gonna be doing a quick 2-hour flight. Yeah, I guess that's not really quick, is it? Well, either way, it's my channel, my rules. And of course, as I start the let's play, I get a text message. I'm not going to answer that. There we go. All is good, all is well. Just tell me if the volume is way too... Yeah, excuse me. Just tell me if the volume is way too high. By the way, I guess I should probably start talking. It'd be kind of boring if I didn't. I am going to be flying from Henderson Executive in Las Vegas all the way to Salt Lake International, which is obviously all the way to Salt Lake. Figured, might as well go ahead and do that. Because personally, I love the road trip from Salt Lake to Vegas and vice versa. Not so much from, let's say, Las Vegas to San Diego. That type of trip really doesn't get interesting until you start getting into, I wouldn't say Riverside, but definitely when you get into the Los Angeles area. That's really when it only starts to get interesting. Maybe when you cross the mountains, the San Bernardino Mountains. Is it San Bernardino Mountains? It has a weird curvy road to it on the 15. Someone can tell me. I'm not the best when it comes to geography, if you didn't notice by now. Either way, I'm just gonna go ahead and line myself up. Alright, there we go. Well, this thing, first off, I need to get some scenery textures. That's for sure. Secondly, this plane really doesn't ask to get off the ground. It tells you when it wants to get off the ground. Not like I have a problem with that. Yeah, this plane is definitely a good climber. Alright, cool, cool, cool. And there we go. Alright, so welcome to Viva AutoGen Las Vegas. And say goodbye to Las Vegas pretty soon because this is a pretty high-performing plane. Alright, sweet. Ah, perfect. So... Sorry I'm not too talkative. I kind of got a text message that I don't want to put in the back of my mind at the moment. Right now, I'm just enjoying myself flying in Nevada. Going to... I can't be Boulder Lake, can it? Whether it is or isn't, I'm just enjoying the scenery. Honestly, the drive from Las Vegas to Salt Lake is quite beautiful because you tend to go northbound, and the reason why that's important is because that's how the climates tend to change. The climates tend to change when you go north or southbound. They don't necessarily change when you go east and westbound. So driving all the way to California, you really get to see nothing but desert until you cross a mountain peak. Then you get into cities and whatnot. Then it becomes interesting. However, when we're talking about going from Las Vegas to Salt Lake, well, you're going to be going through the desert, then you're going to go through canyons, and once you go through canyons, you're going to go through plains, meadows, and eventually you're going to hit the mountains, where things become a lot more pine tree-ish, if that makes any sense. Personally, I definitely enjoy that type of road trip. I've done it quite a few times before, especially when I moved from Salt Lake to California. There we go. Nice and relaxing. Can't ask more than that. What did it do? Did I just screw up the autopilot? I think I did. No. I think I got it. Go ahead and take a look what type of altimeter we're going to need. Ah, there we go. Much better. Alright, so... what other road trips have I done? I have done a Salt Lake to San Francisco one before. That was an interesting drive up the 80. I've also went from Denver to Wyoming to see the solar eclipse with my dad. Oh, that was really fun. We went to a place called Guernsey. Well, not exactly Guernsey, but it was a town just north of Guernsey that was kind of secluded. And would I call it secluded? Yeah, it was kind of secluded. It was mostly just a place with a lot of ranches and cattle and whatnot. But even then, there were still people. I mean, I have never seen that many such a huge traffic jam before, and this was all the way in Wyoming. I mean, imagine how the locals felt. Like, the only time I've ever seen such gridlock before was like when there was a car accident in the middle of rush hour traffic in Southern California, so that was some crazy shit. But needless to say, it was kind of a blessing and a curse for people in Wyoming, I bet, because in a way, it was a blessing because that was it was really good for the economy. However, they were just simply not used to the high volume of people. Like, you go to a bar, you go to a diner or a restaurant, and they all were just jam-packed. Like, so many people were there. And of course, these people are not used to just how many, well, just how many people were going to see the eclipse. It was ridiculous. In a way, it was almost a mass migration. But needless to say, the solar eclipse was amazing. I missed the lunar eclipse because my asshole landlord did not wake me up, but that was fine by me. It was like 5 in the morning. I would be more upset about it if it weren't for the fact that I saw the, solar eclipse, so all is good. Still, what does it say in terms of ETA? $29 minutes to get to the next waypoint. Yeah, I guess you could say we have some time. Also gonna go ahead and turn track IR off. And oh my god, you know, I do have to say, I really love the textures of X-Plane 10 over what we saw, or X-Plane 11 over what we saw in X-Plane 10. I mean, it's just gorgeous, plus it's a lot more stable. Now, I don't know why it kept crashing. It is way beyond me. But considering I got a new processor, I also upgraded my RAM, still has the same amount. Maybe I should look into getting a new video card, because I think that's the thing that keeps mucking it up. And I know video cards are expensive, but if you do buy it wholesale, then that's not going to be too hefty of a price. It's when the prices triple when you look at the retailers like Newegg. Like, I used to be such a lifelong supporter of Newegg, and then they pulled this bullshit of, well, people just keep buying video cards, so we're just going to have to jack up the prices. I mean, we just can't get enough in stock. No, bullshit. You can get enough in stock. I mean, EVGA sells them at a much cheaper price than Newegg. And if you ever want to get a new video card, that's what I suggest you go to. I mean, I don't like cryptocurrency for the fact that you have a bunch of crypto mining faggots who just decide to buy 80 video cards to create some Bitcoin mining supercomputer. I mean, what's the point in that? I mean, first off, it wastes power. Secondly, cryptocurrencies have very wild swings. Like, I can guarantee you that Bitcoin, it's gonna have a steep fall, then it's gonna have a steep rise, then a steep fall, then a steep rise, then a steep fall. It's an unregulated currency. There is no, and you know, this sounds very anti-libertarian, but I'm not a libertarian. This sounds very, you know, I guess the best way to put it is that you do need some type of government regulation on that. And if you can make the argument that you don't need government regulation, fine, but these cryptocurrencies need to self-regulate in one form or another. Like, the Federal Reserve is pretty good in that regard, such as they will not print a fuck ton of money just to, you know, pay someone off. Hopefully someone will notice, because that doesn't increase the value of your GDP or the wealth that your country has. All it does is that it creates more paper, and therefore it inflates the money to a ridiculous extent. Just, you know, something you can't do. Now, I heard that there is a limit to how much Bitcoin you can mine, and that's causing a lot of people to create these supercomputers to extract as much Bitcoin as possible. Now, is that a really good way of doing business? Personally, I don't think so, but it's what a lot of people are doing, and can I argue with that? Not really. But for those who think they'll get rich off of Bitcoin, let's just say that you really need to know how to work the market. That's all I'm going to say. In some cases, or in most cases, people don't know how to do that. You get a lot of people who are saying, oh, hey, look at how high the Bitcoin prices are soaring. Let's buy now. No, you never buy when things are high. You buy when things are low. That's the best way to go about it. I don't know. Maybe I kind of have a bad opinion about people who manipulate the market to be rich. Now, I understand it is gambling, but not sure what else I could say about that. Now, I do have to wonder if I'm going to hit those mountains. I doubt it. But what about the mountains that are kind of in the distance? That would be interesting. Also... Okay, I just needed to make sure that my microphone was on. You know, I like how it says that the heading indicator is not aligned with the magnetic north. However, if you look at it, where is it? I'd say it's like 059, right? Right here it's 059, so it looks pretty fucking aligned to me. Not sure why I got this notification in the first place. Wow. Okay. Now that's odd. The only other thing I'm thinking of is that after I revved up the throttle, I'm wondering if that's a good power setting. I mean, yeah, it's definitely bringing up my airspeed, that's for sure. Just wonder what it's going to do with my fuel efficiency. I mean, this is a powerful plane, relatively. It's no fighter jet, but at the same time, this thing is not your garden variety Cessna. This is more of a workhorse meant to transport cargo for FedEx. I mean, that's really kind of its purpose in life. Oh my god, I need to stop explaining how I'm just totally turned on by the scenery. Just, it's so beautiful. What can I say? They'll just leave it on like this, so you guys can enjoy. Oh, what was that? Ah, perfect. Man, it is so much. It's crazy just how good OBS has become. I remember when they just called it Open Broadcast Software, it was a beta, then they came out with OBS Studio, and I'm like, this stuff is way too complicated, I don't want to relearn it. Then I found out it was better. Holy shit, hang on, is that a forest fire? No, it's not. There used to be brush fires in X-Plane 10, I remember that. But no, basically, got myself a new processor, a really good processor, upgraded my RAM, still the same amount, but definitely works faster. The thing is, though, is that ever since I got new OBS, I was able to stream like 1080p, 60 frames a second with about a 10,000 kilobit, right? I forgot what the bit rate is, but it's in the realm of 10,000 instead of 5,000, which is amazing. Yeah, if I can do that, then it is perfect. In fact, let's take a quick look. It's running at 60 frames per second. It's at 10,173 kilobits per second. It's been going live for 34 minutes, and I haven't seen any dip in performance. I have no idea how long my GPU will last, unfortunately, because this thing could very well crash. But assuming it doesn't crash, then we'll be golden. Of course, I must admit, I don't know if it's because of the different TVs and whatnot, but the colors are a little bit different. Looks like they're deeper and richer in texture on my TV monitor, but not so much on my PC monitor, which I'm using X-Plane on. That is what it is. Now, the million-dollar question is whether or not I'm going to make it past that plateau. And I think the answer is maybe. Worst comes to worst, so I'll just disable the autopilot, but it shouldn't be too much of an issue. holy shit, the fact that this is maintaining a steady 60 frames a second, that wasn't happening with my older version of Windows. So, now I do notice that there's a little bit of latency, so Twitch, this is not. I mean, I notice Twitch doesn't really have a problem with latency anymore, or a delay. YouTube still does. And honestly, I think I'm going to end up in the Twitch side of gaming more than the YouTube side of gaming, because if Twitch decides to start competing with YouTube, which is what I've been hearing, then, you know what, to hell with YouTube. I mean, I understand that none of my videos really got demonetized during the adpocalypse, but even then, it's like a frog in boiling water, in a way. Basically, if you put a frog in water and slowly turn up the temperature, supposedly the frog will just stay there until it gets boiled alive. Now, I don't know if that's true, and I don't want to test that, but it's a good analogy of just how shitty situations can become. And the reason why situations can become so shitty is because companies like YouTube are slowly turning up the heat. They are slowly making it harder and harder for YouTube creators to make money. And in a way, I don't agree with that practice, especially with the latest one. Now mind you, I have not been demonetized. My channel far exceeds the minimum requirements. I have over 1,000 subscribers, almost getting on 2,000 subscribers. Maybe I should get a Patreon going. And that is way too low. I am going to just increase the throttle here. Oh, God, that scared the shit out of me. Okay. Alright, that should have fixed the problem. I think it did. Alright, there we go. An extra 2,000 feet to play with. So, anyway, YouTube and demonetizing content creators. They were able to get away with it because no other company can compete. Twitch, on the other hand, can compete. VidMe could not, and that really sucks. I liked VidMe. Every video I made went to VidMe as well as YouTube, along with a few other things I couldn't put on YouTube because of copyright. And it's all gone. I mean, there is Vimeo, but Vimeo has always been in the back burner for the longest time. And they've kind of been obscure. So is Dailymotion. Like, Dailymotion, everyone knows it, but Christ, even they have their own YouTube channel, so it's like, yeah, what's Dailymotion doing? It's not as successful as YouTube. Nothing is really successful as YouTube, except for Twitch. Now, Twitch could easily compete, I think. And if gamers start going over there, they're going to be like, oh shit, maybe we should start treating gamers more fairly, at the very least. And shit, what if Twitch allows political commentators like the Young Turks, or Steven Crowder, or Kyle Kulinski, the Amazing Atheist, even Prager, why not? That would be amazing. I just need to figure out when that's going to happen so that I can plan for it. And then when it happens, I'm going to export my videos to there. It's going to take a long process, but at the same time, I'll go ahead and do that. I'll still be on YouTube if you guys want to. If you guys want to see me on here, but it's not a bad idea to expand your horizons. It's never a bad idea. Especially to make plans, because I would love to be a full-time YouTuber. I mean, this is still just a hobby for me, a hobby that I make money off of, not gonna lie, but even then, it's enough of a hobby for me to actually go out and do this as, you know, as much as I can. There was a time when I was like, I really don't want to do it, but now I kind of feel like, yeah, you know what, I do want to do it. I do want to make videos. And hopefully that feeling stays the same, because I'm kind of sick of not making videos every week. Of just, you know, putting it off way too long. And hopefully I don't get into that habit again. But the fact that I now posted videos 2 weeks in a row, that's kind of a rarity if you actually look at my channel, so I'll do that. I'm also thinking about, well, there's some things I want to do in the day. I mean, without a doubt, oh god. Oh, it sucks too. I'm going to be working when Kingdom Come Deliverance comes out. But I'm probably going to be doing a lot of that next week. Because I've heard nothing but good things about this game. Now granted, they did have a demo, they did show gameplay, so they're definitely confident in their product. It isn't just trailer after trailer after trailer after, oh look at all these cutscenes. No, they actually show actual gameplay footage, which is kind of cool. I definitely enjoy the medieval times. I'm kind of a fantasy nerd that way. Definitely love Skyrim. I love Warhammer. Not so much as 40k, but I'm more of a sci-fi person personally. Which, by the way, I should play some more Stellaris. So many games, too little time. But I also want to do DCS World. You kind of see the conundrum here, right? Holy shit. Also, I have no idea if this is way too loud, so I am going to lower the levels here. How does this sound? Does it sound better? How about this? Oh yeah. Much better, I think. Let's take a look, actually. I can't really hear it. That's because my game is really drowning it out, but I can hear my voice. So that's always good. And now I'm turning to Milford, which is in Utah. The more you know. In fact, I may very well be in Utah as is. No, actually, I'm pretty sure I am in Arizona. If I am in Utah, I'm really way south into Utah. We're talking like St. George levels of, Let's take a look at the map. No, I'm pretty sure that I am in Arizona. Yeah, I am in Arizona. Because right here, can you see the cursor? I think you can see the cursor, can't you? Okay, yes, you can. Alright, so SGU is St. George. This is pretty much the butt end of Utah. So once we get into St. George, then we're in Utah. Right now, we're in Arizona. And oh boy, Arizona is beautiful. I think that is the Grand Canyon right here, which we are not supposed to fly over, but don't tell anyone. Also, are those bird sightings? Holy shit. I'd actually hate to get a bird strike in this game and then have to divert, because that is never a good thing. But I will worry not. Wow, that was kind of weird. Okay. Well, oddities aside, we have a good 41 minutes before we reach Milford. This is gonna be a long flight. I warned you guys. But yeah, we're not even halfway to our destination. Though, personally, I think there's nothing wrong with these long-ass flights. I mean, I know this one guy who, I hope he still makes YouTube videos. I think he's, shit, what's his, Yeah, I remember there was this one guy who used to do live streaming all the time. His name on YouTube is Cloudybox, and I have no idea what happened to him. I think he just got busy or didn't want to live stream anymore, or who knows. But I do kind of miss his live streams, because his live streams were basically flights. Like he would start up a flight. I mean, it could be long or short, and depending on how long it is, he'd actually give us an in-flight movie, which is like some YouTube or Daily Motion video of a movie. And I was like, holy shit, this guy was very, good at his live streaming his theatrics, I should say. And I actually remember he would leave the live stream on when he would be doing long ass transatlantic flights, just things like that. Gotta. Sorry about that. Now, there is one downside to flying in the mountains in the Cessna. If you haven't noticed, there are some pretty tall mountains that you have to traverse. And I think it all really depends. Like, for instance, the highest point in Utah County is going to be 12,100 feet. Now, in Utah County, that's probably going to be where Point of a Mountain is. So even then, I am way too... Since I am only 9,000 feet above ground, or above sea level, I should say, I could be below ground if I'm not too careful. I'm pretty much going to have to climb higher and higher and higher, which makes this thing less and less fuel efficient. Now, I could climb up to 11,000 feet. That's one of my options. The other options is that I could navigate in between the mountains. Now, that could be pretty dangerous, depending on how I go about this. So, while these mountains are certainly something I want to avoid, I think for now, I'm simply going to turn away from the mountains and then head back to my course. Yep, I definitely want to... Oh, okay. I definitely want to change the flight path. Take it to a safer path, then we'll move it back. The fucked up things I can do in track IR. Fun stuff. That's not the best looking fire extinguisher. That I doubt. Yes, now I am in Utah. And it looks like I might be flying into the LaSalle's. I hope not. No, no, no. LaSalle's would be kind of way too east now that I think about it. Ah, shit. Am I actually headed towards Collab Canyon? I think that 2 is probably a little bit north of here. Oh, I have no idea. Oh shit, I actually think that might be Zion's National Park. It's definitely the right area. Of course, the thing is that I think the moment I turn on nav, I'm gonna fly right into those mountains, so that's not something I really want to tempt, I should say. Alright, I think it's safe now. We'll find out soon enough. Yeah, I think it's fine. Actually, I think... Is that Cedar City? It can't be. Actually, I think it is. Yeah, I think that's Cedar City's airport. Yep. Cool. Now, around this time of the journey, if I was driving by car, I would definitely pull into this town. They have some pretty good restaurants, good truck stops, place to gas up. Not only that, but kind of a cool place to kick back and relax. Now, strangely enough, Milford is going to be kind of central as Utah, but as I said earlier, if you haven't noticed, there is kind of a change in the general climate of, actually, speaking of which, knew something was kind of off. Shit, I didn't notice the reflections. That's actually kind of cool. Well, 13 minutes until we get to Milford. Alright, now we are on the last leg, and this is going to be a long leg. Alright. This is going to be a 2.5 hour live long stream. This is going to be crazy. No, I have to admit this flight is quite a bit longer than I thought it would be. Still going, I'm at least glad for that, because holy shit. But when it comes to X-Plane, I used to have the worst time in the world trying to figure out how, in the living fuck, to prevent my system from crashing. Granted, that was X-Plane 10, and to a lesser extent X-Plane 11. Now I'm starting to wonder if that was actually my operating system more than anything else. How the drivers just didn't work with the kernel, and therefore didn't work with the software itself. I mean, that's what I think is possible, because I had a really fucked up operating system with a computer that frankly had a dying hard drive in it. So that thing was going down the drain, and speaking of which, I do think I should replace another old hard drive of mine in my computer. It was going down the drain. When it finally went down the drain, holy shit, that really fucked up my computer. Of course, there had to be a reinstall after I got my new processor. And oh boy, well, going from an i7 4690K or an i5 4690K to an i7 7700K, holy fucking balls, the difference is like night and day. Holy shit. Now I actually have to wonder if X-Plane 10 or X-Plane 11 has been optimized to work with hyperthreading and whatnot, because that would be, well, that would be a lot better in my opinion than sticking with OpenGL, because Vulkan actually has a very good optimization API built into it, where I heard that it's very easy for them to optimize for cores. Now, if you're wondering, gaming programmers rarely optimize for it. Usually it's a PC exclusives that do it, strategy games and whatnot, and even then I don't think they fully optimize it either. I mean, if you look at Stellaris, holy shit, once you start getting into a lot of units in a big galaxy, it's really going to chug down the performance of your processor, and I need to actually system monitor it to see if I'm right about that. Because if I can show, it's like, oh shit, one of my cores is up to 100%, my other core is at 2.3% or something like that, then what that means is that I'm basically getting a very shitty unoptimized game out of Stellaris, which sucks, I think, because Paradox Interactive is a really good software company, at least from what I think. In my opinion, I think they're great. I think they're a lot better than a lot of other AAA developers. Now, they do get a little bit greedy when it comes to the DLC, but holy shit, it's DLC I actually want to buy. I actually want to buy the Stellaris expansions, and in doing so, I mean, yes, it does make the game better, but holy shit. Fuck yeah, I'm willing to pay money for mega structures. I'm willing to pay money for the Apocalypse mod to get like fucking Death Stars and whatnot. I want that shit. Oh, and an Exterminatus. Let's not forget that. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually got something like that. And holy shit, that would be nice. Of course, now I imagine it probably has to do with the bombardment policy, where I can't just bomb the living fuck out of a planet and wipe everyone off the map. But, you know, a guy can dream. I might have to be a xenophobe in order to do that. Which, why not? Sorry, in my opinion, I think sci-fi needs to be dark and depressing. I mean, think of... what's a good example? Outlaw Star isn't exactly depressing, if you ask me. Who knows? Anyway, it is ad time. Oh, I definitely do love that play ad button. Everyone else probably hates it, but oh well. Still 100 and over 100 miles out. To Salt Lake. Oh, shit. Alright, well, let's take a look at the map. Let's see where we are in this fucked up planet. Strangely enough, this is showing snow when I'm pretty sure we are far enough north to have snow. Of course, I only bring that up because well, Utah kind of had a very anemic winter today, or this year, but it still really snowed towards the end of it all. Yeah, KTVY, that is Tooele's airport. U42 is the Salt Lake number 2 airport. That's their little regional airport in Class B airspace. I never go there. Never went there. Didn't even want to go there, to be honest. I much prefer Tooele's airport. There is general aviation at Salt Lake International Airport. Quite a bit, actually. More so than, let's say, San Diego. Definitely a lot more than LAX. Usually with an international airport, they're way too busy to have small planes come in, but there are exceptions to that, and Salt Lake is a big exception to that, huge exception to that little rule. And for the longest time, I just simply flew out of Class B airspace. Out of Salt Lake International, then out of Class B airspace to Tooele, which is KTVY. And in doing so, it was, I don't know, probably more expensive, because usually when it comes to flight lessons, you take off, you are already there, so you start doing patterns, you start doing landings and whatnot in I don't know, in oh, my brain fried. In San Diego, that's not the case. Usually you will fly, well, usually you will fly out, but you'll almost never land. I heard there's like $100 landing fee in San Diego. I'm not sure if that's true, but there isn't a lot of GA traffic. Usually you're not there unless you're a private jet, or you have some, or you just want to land every so often and you're rich enough to do so. In the case of me being scatterbrained, holy shit. In the case of a small airport, you just take off, do a few patterns, do some stalls, land, or do touch and goes a few times, and there you go. That's pretty much flying 101. And holy crap, we still got a while before I actually get to Salt Lake's airport, but wow, I've been live streaming for quite a while. This thing is still holding up, and holy shit, I'm actually glad that it is. Oh. Glad you enjoyed the ramble. Didn't even know anyone was here. I guess the question remains, can I talk for 2.5 hours? Probably not. But someone was at least listening. Bleak Unending. If you're still here, feel free to subscribe. I really don't do a whole lot of live streams. Usually what I do is that I make YouTube videos. If I live stream, yeah, sometimes I'll do it because I haven't made a video in a while. Just want to do some live streaming and whatnot. That's kind of what I do for most of the time. Yeah. Well, have a good one. Enjoy your Wednesday. Okay, now we are getting into the part of the flight where I actually have to pay attention and do things. Alright, so let's take a look. Fuel is still a very good quantity. Engines have been chugging along nicely. Okay, good shit, good shit, good shit. But now, we are going to be heading into Utah County, Utah Valley. Over there is going to be Spanish Fork. So what we're going to do is that we are going to turn in 030. Okay, that just got us into a mountain range. Okay, something's not right here. Alright. For some reason, the autopilot is being absolutely retarded. I have no idea why it isn't following the heading bug. But either way, I do need to make a small deviation so that I end up in Utah Valley, because over there, that place is, well, is that a restricted that I'm actually going to be flying into? No, it's not. But yeah, there's basically a lot of military stuff over there. That can be avoided, but to put it simply, I'm just trying to, one, align myself better with the runway, and two, I'm going to see, well, two, hopefully I can avoid the mountains, because this is where the mountains get very mountainous. Now, this is a final terrain that I can actually... Oh, wow. Shadows are a little weird. But anyway, I want to avoid the mountains, and going through Utah Valley is the best way to do so. Now, what that is, I have no idea. This isn't a really good VFR sectional, to be honest. Also, I'm heading into the clouds. Can I still see the ground? Yes. We're still VFR. We're still legal. Eat it. Alright. So, I believe that's Utah Lake over there. so we are not too far away from Provo. Now, I believe that this mountain range right here, I believe is point of a mountain. This here is not. So what I'm going to do is that I am going to move myself over here, and oh boy, is this going to be a hazy approach? I have no idea. Not like it really matters too much. I just need to make sure that I make myself aware of where all the mountains are. Why it all of a sudden got a little hazy, I'm guessing that's because, oh, I think I know why. This time of year, it's particularly nasty to have temperature inversions in the Salt Lake Valley, and maybe to extent Utah Valley as well. But what a temperature inversion is basically when you have, let's say, a valley or an area that's surrounded by mountains, and you get a high pressure system over it, well, then what that's going to do is that that's going to force all the gunk out and push everything down there. So you don't get a lot of sunlight, everything is cold, and everything is hazy and foggy. Pollution just really builds up there. It's kind of nasty. However, the higher you get, the nicer it becomes. So the higher you get, the warmer the temperature, hence the temperature inversion. Usually it's the other way around. Just a fun little weather science right there. Yeah, that definitely is Utah Lake. I wonder if this works. Yeah, it does. Alright, now I'm actually in control. Hi, Vingador. Is that how I pronounce it? Welcome to my stream, and greetings from San Diego. How are things with you today? Oh god, please don't tell me I'm getting artifacts. I'd really hate for that to be the case. Yes, I'll say the same for my place. Very sunny day. Probably not as sunny in Utah as it is where I live right now, but I'm definitely not going to complain about that. Anyway, welcome to the flight. Drinks are complimentary, and we're beginning our, not descent, but our approach into Salt Lake City International Airport. We flew all the way from Henderson Executive, which is in Las Vegas. Or technically Henderson, you know how it is. Cities swallow up other cities, and therefore Henderson is now like Las Vegas. Same way. I don't know. What's another good example? I'll think of one, but it's not too important. Oh, I know what that is. That is not restricted airspace. I'm entering Class B airspace now. Okay. That makes a lot more sense. So anyway, Vingador, how are things going? Do you play Explain a lot? Or just surfing around? Ah, okay. Oh, glad you caught my channel. I actually do have a few tutorial videos on how to fly a plane. I can be a bit mumbly and ranty about, well, my videos at times, but it gives you the general gist of how to fly an airplane if you're ever interested. Personally, I think more people should get into flight sims. Okay, I believe this is point of the mountain I'm about to cross. Yeah, definitely point of a mountain. Now, once I cross this mountain peak over right there, then I am going to be in the Salt Lake Valley. And this is where I should probably check the ATIS.
Altimeter 3022. Remarks. Density altitude 5,000. Salt Lake City International Airport. Automated weather observation 2139er Zulu. Wind 180 at 13. Visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature 16 Celsius. Dew point -03 Celsius. Altimeter 3022. Remarks. Density altitude 5,000.
Oh, okay. Well, yes, between, well, it all kind of depends. The thing is that with, flying a real airplane, you definitely don't get the, you know, motion feel that you normally would. However, the general concept is there. I could go on and on and on about certain types of principles of flying, but here's an example. Like, if I pull the throttle back, if you notice this altimeter right here, or the vertical speed indicator right here, it's going to show a drop, and you're going to drop in altitude because you don't have as much speed. General things like that. Another one is that if you turn, you'll start to lose altitude as well. Generally, this thing's pretty accurate. But in the end, it all depends on the model that you use. The standard X-Plane 10 models, I don't think, are the most accurate ones. However, there are a lot of mods that you can get that are, you know, pretty accurate. Some of them are called what we call study simulators. These this plane in particular, I wouldn't exactly call it a study sim, but it is pretty accurate. For example, if you notice these circuit breakers, I cannot click any of them. So, can't click any of that, but I can click the enunciator. It'll tell me what I could do. Also tells me various other things, such as anti-ice, voltage that we have. It's in the positive, along with the vacuum suction in the engine. That's how the plane siphons fuel out of the plane, or out of the wings. Actually, this is a freaking Cessna. It doesn't exactly need a vacuum pump. It could just let gravity do the job for it. But okay, we are in the Salt Lake Valley. It's time for me to descend. I'm gonna descend to about 6,000 feet. And that isn't an arbitrary number. The airport altitude is about 4,200 feet, or 4,400 feet, if memory recalls. So I do need to go down in a bit in altitude a little bit. Landing lights are on. Okay, that's good. Don't really need any of that stuff. But the thing is that we have quite a bit of a tailwind, so we're not going to be landing with a tailwind. We're actually going to pass the airport and then do a 180, then land. Now, it wants me to land on runway 16 right, but the problem with that is 16 right is a runway reserved for large passenger planes like your 777s and whatnot. Oh, glad you think it's cool. Also, this is a... Honestly, I will never shut up about how beautiful Utah is, even in a simulator. Good God. This is actually pretty accurate as well. Like, if you're landing at the airport, you're going to see these mountains. You're going to see these mountains ahead of you. They are tall. They are beautiful. They are wonderful to hike in. I have like a ton of pictures. I should probably post on my Twitter some point or another. Yeah, so that little mountain range over there, we're actually getting pretty close to downtown Salt Lake. I don't have the autogen as up as I should. This really isn't as... The city itself is actually more dense than what this sim would like you to believe. But so far, so good. Alright, yeah, there's downtown right there. That means the airport should be right about here. I think I see the lights. Alright, there we go. Ourselves our first notch of flaps. Oh yeah. I'm pretty impressed too. I mean, I absolutely love how much detail these companies put into the planes that they make. I mean, all the gauges, and this is a very simple plane too. If you look in the cockpit of, let's say a 737, oh boy, that stuff gets complex. But there's this company called PMDG that makes sims that has every single pushable button, and I'm like, how is that even possible? How do you even do that? I mean, pilots are supposed to know every button and what they do. And I hear mechanics say that pilots are glorified button pushers because they don't know the ins and outs of a plane as much as the mechanics do, but yeah, whatever. Yes, I am using TrackIR. I'm not. Oh wait, I'm not using any type of VR software. I'm just using TrackIR, which is pretty much a head tracking software. I am thinking about getting the HTC just because I really want to play LA Noire and see if I actually know how to fight. That would be pretty badass. Alright, but now I'm about 1,000 feet above the airport. Probably a little bit less, but semantics. Track hour is actually very accurate. You do need to make sure that the clip is properly positioned and that you have the settings correct. But unless there's something that gets into the way of it, like for example, I'm gonna block it with my phone, it'll start to do weird stuff like that. But other than that, it's actually pretty accurate as long as there's not a lot of light between behind you, and there's nothing in between you and the track IR. Well, between your track IR clip and the sensor, you should be fine. Alright, flaps are all the way down. We are good. Okay. Nice thing is that there won't be much of a crosswind for this landing, which is always a good thing. I like the Jordan River over there. Nice, nice addition to detail. I'm glad you feel that way. Hopefully the ride isn't too bumpy for you. I'm still a little bit high for landing, but that's fine. We have a lot of runway to worry about that. And that's fine if I do a bit of a long landing. There we go. Alright, so strobe light goes off, fuel pump is off, landing light's off. Alright, now it's time for me to taxi to general aviation. Anyway, thanks for the compliment. Yeah, so the airport at Salt Lake, because I'm very familiar with it, is split into two groups. You have the general aviation. There's also an Air National Guard station over here. And then over there, you have the international side. The flights that, well, it's where all the passengers are, I guess is the best way to put it. There are some charter planes over here, but they are far and few between. Now, I don't know how accurate this airport model is. From what I've seen, it's very accurate. For example, not here. I think this might be where the helicopter... No. I like how they have a parking lot here. Oh, nope. This is quite accurate, actually. So this is a tucked away corner of the airport. You can see there's like a general aviation parking. That orange building, I believe, is... Anyway, these are hangars for small planes. I believe that orange hangar is for Life Flight, the air ambulance, I guess is what you'd call it. Alright, so now that we landed, the next thing we need to do, turn off the avionics. Don't need them. And then there we go with the mixture. And once the propeller has stopped, I am going to turn off the beacon light, turn off the nav light. Turn all that stuff off, and then turn off the battery. All right. Long freaking flight, but it was well worth it. This has been a 2-hour, 42-minute live stream, and hope you guys enjoyed. But with that said, I definitely got to get going, do stuff throughout the day, so you guys have a good one.